What's up, Heat Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Heat Roundtable. The Miami Heat have made a fucking trade for the first time in what seems like forever. The Miami Heat were reported and linked to a player, and we actually got that player. So for today's episode, I'm here with everybody. We all had to hop on. I know we made an episode yesterday, but it's the trade deadline right now, and there's going to be a lot of moves happening throughout the NBA. Big news, too, with like the Milwaukee Bucks we can talk about a little bit later. But we had to hop on because I'm pumped. The Miami Heat traded Kyle Meatball Lowry for Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets. We finally have upgraded our point guard position. So I don't know about you guys. I'm fucking stoked. Ernest said we need to make a tweak, a little move. We didn't need to gut the roster. We just need to make some sort of move. Offensive rating has been shit, 20th.
Yep.
Almost like dead last almost in points per game. So I'm pumped, man. I'm excited for this. Let's talk to Trent first. Get your opinion. What are your thoughts, man? Because like I said yesterday, we don't believe shit until it happens. That's what Trent and I said. I said, seeing is believing. I woke up. I saw a Woj bomb and a Shams quote. I believe it, man. We're here.
Finally.
Look, as y'all see, I'm in the car. I'm at work right now, but the grind don't stop, man. Heat Nation, we stand on top, dog. It don't matter if I'm at here or there, whatever the case may be. But Terry Rozier is a Miami Heat. I'm super excited. We've been talking about this for a while now. And I are going to bring up a lot of very interesting things about this whole situation. Fuck Kyle Lowry, you fat piece of... Done with you. Get off my team, right? Kids acting like a kid, unfollowing people. We ain't got time for that. Terry Rozier, he always wanted to be a Heat. I seen the exchange with him and D Wade back in the I don't know how long ago it was, but he always wanted to be a Heat. And now, the big question to me is, can Terry and Tyler play together? And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you didn't know, Terry ranks second in the NBA in pick and roll efficiency. So we're going to see a lot of pick and roll with Terry and Bam, meaning Tyler is going to be not with the ball as much. And that's why I said he needs to go to the bench. He will never go to the bench, but I think that's the better fit. Duncan Robinson doesn't need the ball in his hand all the time. Tyler does to be efficient. So I think it'll be a better lineup with Terry, Duncan, Jimmy when the rookie comes back and Bam. And then if Tyler wants to junk up a bunch of shots on that second unit, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? And then you can still close the games, whatever the case may be. I still think that needs to happen ASAP. And it's going to be a failing. I don't know the word. It's going to be like a failing out because just because we trade for a player, you brought it up before, Amir, doesn't mean it's always going to work, right? So we need to fill it out, see how everything's going to go. We have 40-plus games left into the postseason where all it matters. So if we are starting off rocky, look at the Clippers. They started 0-5, and now they're one of the most dominant teams. We got one of the best coaches. They're going to figure it out. But not only, Terry Rozier is not going to be averaging 27 points a game. If he can get 15 to 18 points around there, but also adding playmaking, easier shots for Bam, for Tyler, stuff like that, I think that would be pretty good.
Yeah, man. There's
yeah,
we could hear you a little bit. I don't know if that was just me, but I agree with you. Like, obviously, Terry's not going to get 18 shots per game. He was on the Hornets. They didn't have LaMelo Ball for like 6 weeks. So he's going to have to play a role. And that role is a big upgrade, but he's going to have the ball in his hands. But obviously, Jimmy operates with the ball in his hands. Bam needs the ball in his hands to a certain degree. But I love you brought up that stat because I saw that today too. Second best in terms of efficiency. So I think he's going to activate Bam Adebayo. So Bam is not going to do what we all are annoyed about because all he's been doing is that mid-range jumper. It feels like he's not got to the paint as much lately. His dunks are down. He's going to be a loft right now, so I think it's huge. Ernest, welcome back. Missed you yesterday. What are your thoughts on this, man? How pumped?
Oh my God, freaking ecstatic, man! It's like I said in my channel today. This is a trade that the Heat made that benefited them for a few reasons. One, you don't give up Nikola Jovic, so now you have another toy in that starting power forward position. And I think we've all talked before. We all like Jovic in the starting four. You know, you got Caleb Martin, you got Highsmith, you can even put Jaquez. So you have a lot of options. But it's a huge upgrade to the point guard position. And honestly, Tyler Hero's been starting at the point the last 2 games. He's done it before this season. It's okay. I think Terry Rozier is better. He's averaging about 7 assists a game. He's good with the ball in his hands. Like you guys said, pick and roll with Bam is going to be a beast. Now, look, Trent, I get it. I know I agree. Terry Rozier and Duncan Robinson is a more optimal starting lineup with Jimmy, a starting four, and Bam. I get it. It's not going to happen. It's going to be Tyler and Terry Rozier starting in the backcourt. So is it going to work? Yes, because we have the best coach in the NBA. He will figure it out and it will work. That's my belief. I don't think that the Heat would have traded for Terry Rozier without knowing that. And this is a guy, a point that you were making earlier, Trent. He's not always wanted to be in the Miami Heat. Dwayne Wade is just his idol. He plays like Wade. So now he's here. It's full circle. I just think it's a great deal. You get to keep Jovic. Yeah, you give a first-round draft pick. But look what we do with undrafted players, so I'm cool with it.
Yes, sir. And think about this. One knock on him is his size. He's still a pretty athletic and quick. We know that, but also his defense. And there was some stat out there that I think Kyle Lowry was doing better at the point of attack somehow, which we didn't see that. But think about his motivation. One, he's going to be in our system. He's going to learn how to fucking defend. But two, he was defending for a 10-31 team. We are the 6th seed, a playoff contender, a championship contender. That fool is going to be motivated to actually play, right? So, Martel, hop in, buddy. What are your thoughts? I know you're pumped.
Yeah, bro, listen, we finally got the upgrade that we needed, long overdue. We have a guy that he can create his own shot because teams have been really trying to double team Bam, double team Jimmy, especially within the mid post. So you have another guy that now you can't necessarily double Bam in the post because if you double him, we're going to swing it to the key and then now he has a wide open three. So we finally have the point guard that we need. We finally have a guy that actually wants to be involved, actually wants to take shots, and actually he's on the same page with the team and actually wants to win. I don't know what Kyle Lowry was on. Thank God we got off that contract too. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that it can gel together. Tyler Hero's obviously going to have to step up defensively with Terry Rozier. And it's like what you just said. He was on a bad team before. You're not really going to have all the, energy and all the confidence out there to go have, all these stellar defensive stops because you know that you're going to lose the game anyway. So I'm just glad that we finally just improved the roster. Now it's time to get off of Caleb Martin, Jovic, and a pick to get that 4 next to Bam Adebayo or some type of a similar move. I think they might wait out for the buyout market, but we'll see.
Let's say that we do wait out if we don't make a trade. We want to keep that pick because we're going to activate after the draft day. We're going to have our second first-round pick. We won't have Caleb as an asset because we'll probably let him walk at this point because of Terry's contract. So he's going to be gone.
You can't. You got to trade him this year because we can't.
You think so, though?
Build.
Yeah,
we cannot because we're building up all these players. We built up Gabe Vincent. We built up Max Strus. We're gonna build up now Caleb Martin, and then now we just let these guys walk away. We invested too much into them for them to walk for nothing, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I just think you got to flip that.
Let me go real quick before I forget. Kyle Lowry was a $30 million expiring contract at age 37. Caleb is $7 million. So it's not the end of the world if we keep him because he still has to show out. He still has to prove that he is worth that contract for another team. And what are we complaining about all fucking year? Every fucking day there's a new injury at the wing spot. Okay, Hawkins is out, so we need Caleb right now. He comes back and then Haywood's out, so I don't think we need to trade Caleb. But to your point, if we could trade him and a pick, or him and Jovic, or him and whoever combination to upgrade at a power forward, center, whatever, I'm open-minded to it again, right? But I don't think we need to. But anyway,
we don't need to.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I will say this though, right? The Heat are $6.3 million below the second apron. Opening the taxpayer $5 million. That can only use. We can't make a big move after that. I think it's the only big move we can make right now at the moment. But I do think we need to make a second move. But let me just say this real quick. The reason why I believe they need to trade Caleb. Look at these contracts. Jimmy's making $48.8 million next season. Bam's making $34.8. Tyler's making 29. Terry's making about 25, and Duncan's making about $19 million. If we're not resigning Caleb, there's no point of having him on this team because we can't afford him, especially with his next contract. We just can't afford him at all. So I'm not saying we must. He could be part of the championship team, but if there's a good deal out there, I'm willing to do it ASAP right away. And I've been seeing a lot of Heat reporters and Heat writers are saying it's not done. The same dude that said Terry's coming to Miami, Greg Snyder, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong.
Snyder
He just said that it's not done. Caleb's going to be next. So he called the Terry one. What did he say? Caleb's going to be next. He said Caleb needs to be traded. So I think that's the best move right there. And so with the Miami Heat, they only could trade their 2030 first round pick at the moment. They can't trade the 2024 only on draft night. So we have Caleb, the 2030 pick, and Jovic. I don't know what can we get out of that, but I wouldn't be mad if Caleb stayed on the team. We're just probably gonna lose him just like Max and Caleb, Max and Gabe.
So I was thinking about this earlier. Those pieces exactly. Caleb, Jovic, and a first. What can that get you? I don't know what it can get us because of the contracts. Like they're making $10 million together, right? So like we're not going to take more money back because we're $5 million from the second apron. If we get to that second apron, then we can't use our buyout piece. So also we have because we're in the first apron right now, we're not able to get a buyout contract player that had 12 million or more. So basically, if like I heard on some episodes today, if a Gordon Hayward perhaps gets bought out, he's making 20 million. We can't buy him out. But if a guy who we talked about, I think Martel brought this up, PJ Tucker, if he gets bought out because he's not getting any playing time, he's like 10 million. So like he's a guy we can get. But to your point, Trent, I don't know how the money is going to work because him and Jovic in a first round pick, that's 10 million. So like we can't get a Lowry Markkanen for that. We can't get a Kuzma for that. So I don't know what we could put together. Ernest, I know you think about this and know about the salaries and all that stuff. So what are your thoughts like on what Trent just said about that like hypothetical package?
Hypothetical package, there's nothing out there you're going to get that's better than Caleb Martin. So right there, I'm going to shoot that down. No, I won't trade Caleb Martin and Jovic because you're not going to get something better than them. There's not a $10 million player out there who's going to give you what Caleb Martin gave you in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And people forget what value Caleb Martin brings. I understand he's an undersized 4, but it's like you said, injuries happen on this team and it happens a lot. So if somebody goes down, Caleb Martin easily plugs in. Now, the reason why Caleb Martin's being in trade talks is because you have the emergence of Jaime Jaquez Jr. and you also got Haywood Highsmith. So you got guys that can fill the role. But I'm telling y'all right now, in a 7-game series, Caleb Martin got that dog in him. He proved it not only in the series against Boston. I don't know if y'all remember that shot he hit on Giannis's face when he went for that loose ball dive. Jimmy, you see it. Jimmy hit him the ball and he busted that 3-pointer in his face. Experience goes a long way. Caleb got chemistry with this team. Caleb's built something with this team. I get that he hasn't played this year. I get that he's been injured, but you throw that motherfucker in a 7-game series with Jimmy, Bam, and all these guys, I'll take Caleb Martin over any other guy that I can get for $10 million. And I got to give up Nikola Jovic and possibly a 2030 pick? Hell nah. There's nobody out there that entices. The only way I would trade Caleb and Jovic is if it was along with Lowry to get Spider or to get Murray or to get somebody better. I don't think Jovic and Martin gets you anything that's better, especially than Martin when Martin brings in the playoffs. My opinion.
You can't even get Dorian Finney-Smith, who's making 14 million. You know, and they're.
I prefer Caleb. I prefer Caleb.
And also, I prefer Jovic at age 20 versus him at age 30, right? He's hit his ceiling.
I don't think that's I think that's what's available to trade. I'm not saying throw all that in one trade. I just think Caleb's the only asset outside of Jovic in that first-round pick that we could possibly trade. And the reason why he's getting brought up is because we just brought in Terry Rozier, and this new tax thing, we're not paying him. So it's like either we're letting him go for free or we get something out of it. That's how I look out of it. But I mean, you did bring up a good point in the sense of you're not going to get anybody better. And don't get me wrong, I think Caleb is awesome, but this year has been up and down with injuries. And last year's last year. This is a new season. I think he still has that in him. Don't get me wrong. I think he's still very, very good. But I need to continue to see. I need him to stay healthy. And we go from there. So, like I said, I don't mind keeping Caleb. I think he's excellent. But you also said we got plenty of options. Plenty of options. So I'm up and down with it. Like having on our team is a luxury. Having them not on our team is like, okay, we still have these people to back them up. We all want Haywood Highsmith to continue to keep playing more, right? We love Hammy, whatever his damn name is. So and then people love Jovic. People love this dude. They want him to continue to keep playing. So that's why I don't see it as super, super bad. Obviously, you don't want to downgrade. But if the Miami Heat go out there and trade him, I'm not going to be too upset unless they trade him for like peanuts. Then I'm going to be like, okay, what are we doing? But
but in a 7-game series, all those names that you threw, especially Jaime Jaquez, I love him. But in a 7-game series, a lot of times experience comes into play. And what Caleb Martin has done the last 2 years in the playoffs, man, I don't think you're gonna get that in another player. I mean, that's the point. I get what you're saying, man, but I think what the Heat are mainly thinking now, they got Rozier. That's it. With Caleb Martin, it's either let him walk like Gabe Vincent or not even Max Strus, but Gabe Vincent, or if he balls out and the Heat win a championship this year, I think the Heat just might resign him. Go over the salary cap, bring him back. I mean, that's a possibility too. Sounds crazy, but they could.
Martel, what you think?
I don't think they're gonna do it for Caleb. I know they got love for him, but listen, you can find someone like pretty much undrafted to do what he's doing right now. I know that he had listen, all of our role players eventually they're gonna ball out, especially in the playoffs. I don't know. I just don't see them keeping Caleb long term because Mickey's cheap. Because listen, if he wasn't, bro, he would be signing people left and right, and money really wouldn't be an issue. But the fact that we're always talking about money with this team, he's probably. But listen, like I wouldn't even be surprised if like if we don't re-sign like Terry Rozier like in 2 years, and he could be balling for the next 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't re-sign him because that's what this team does. But because they're always looking for the next guy, and especially with all these guys like in the G League balling out recently, that's where their mind is. They're always trying to find the cheaper option. That's why we have guys like Jamal Cain, Orlando Robinson. They would rather go with the cheaper option, and they will let you go. They don't care. Like if you leave and you ball out, they don't care because they know the year after, that's it. You see what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what Gabe Vincent went through. That's what Kendrick Nunn went through. So I mean, Max Strus has been decent this year, surprisingly, because usually Miami Heat players they fall off after they leave Miami. So, but we'll see.
No, you make a good point. You make a really good point, brother. That's true.
So, Trent mentioned that. I guess 5 reasons. Greg Sylvander mentioned that we're not done. So, what kind of lateral type of move do you think we're going to make? Like, who will be up for that trade? Like, because we just discussed we don't want to trade Caleb. That's $6 million, $7 million. Like, what are we going to do? Package up Thomas Bryant, Josh Richardson for a Patty Mills or someone? Who are we going to like? What are we going to do? I'm just curious. What do you think?
Let me say this because I gotta go soon. I'll say this. I think if we don't trade Caleb, it's done and over with. We are going to be looking at the buyout market. I don't think there's going to be no other moves. That's it. The only thing that I would love to have, and maybe they're playing undersized once again, but I just like how they play, is a Royce O'Neal or a Dorian Finney-Smith. I like those 2 players. It's not happening though, right? So I think it's going to easily be a buyout. And what's his name? The Heat report brought up yesterday that he's like, I could see us getting somewhat Alec Burks. He's like an Alec Burks. Dude. Alec Burks off a buyout, and he said another player, but I remember Alec Burks, and I was like, you know what? He may not get so much minutes, but when he does, he's a hooper. You know what I'm saying? It's not like and you got to remember, buyout players are never that great. They're just never gonna. It's always gonna be 50-50. They turn out good, they don't. So I think it's gonna be buyout. I think it's gonna be no trade. But I do want to say this, and it's kind of changing the topic real quick because I wanted to say it earlier. Tyler Herro says some interesting comments. He says, we are going to be able to play faster. I don't know if that's technically throwing shots at Kyle Lowry. I don't think so. But he also said it's time for an energy boost around here for sure, which definitely caught my attention because the energy, and Martel brought this up, when you look at the bench, they're just standing there. So that caught my attention a lot because not only are we viewing it, but Tyler pretty much just said it in this statement. Like, we need that energy boost. And hopefully with this Terry Rozier trade, that gives us that boost. So buyout market, I think we don't got to worry about no more trades unless something crazy happens. Our focus is now buyout market. And if somehow we get a big or a forward, we'll be satisfied. But we also said in all these episodes, if we get Terry or DeJounte, we are going to be fine. So I love Caleb. For everybody in the comment sections, I'm not saying let's just trade him away. I'm just saying for next season purposes, it just doesn't really make sense because we can't afford him. We're going to go over the aprons. We got all these big contracts, and we're not trading Duncan. We're not trading Tyler for just to bring in Kayla Martin. It's not happening. That's all I'm saying, chat. So, yeah.
I mean, if there's an expiring contract out there, someone making the same amount, and we can bring them in, like, for example, Miles Bridges, I thought I thought that was going to be the trade. I thought it was going to be Rozier, Miles Bridges for Caleb, Jovic, Lowry, and a first-round draft pick. I literally thought we were going to have Miles Bridges. When I saw that trade, it surprised me. So that told me right there, okay, I think the Heat are done. Because who are you going to get for Caleb? And who else can you package? Like, besides Duncan, Tyler, Jimmy, and Bam. Like, I don't see a player unless that he come up with another trade, Caleb, for like a Miles Bridges. Or like, I'm looking at numbers. I mean, there's Kelly Olynyk, but he's making too much. Like, I'm looking at expiring contracts. Like, I don't really see anyone. Maybe in the comments, somebody will let us know and throw like an interesting idea. That'll be dope. But I'm just like working on the numbers and looking at stuff. Like, I just don't see someone at $7 million that can give you what Caleb can give you in the playoffs.
Or anybody that's worth trading him a first-round pick and a Jovic to get the type of players you mentioned, Trent, on the Nets. We don't like a Finney Smith and Royce O'Neal. They're fine, but like we don't need those people. Like we already have guys that have chemistry that are in our system. Like we don't need to do that type of move, I don't think.
Yeah.
Buyout is something that you mentioned that makes a lot of sense. And we are going to have our full MLE. So basically we'll have like 6 million. So that's going to be good because now we can be competitive with a Gordon. We can't get Gordon Hayward because of the apron, but like in theory, an upper echelon type of buyout candidate. Like Gordon Hayward's a pretty good candidate. He's better than like a PJ Tucker who's 38. Like this guy's still 33, like relatively young enough and averaging 15, 5, and 5. Like we don't have to get a guy like we did with Kevin Love. We paid him only 1 million. We rewarded him for a second year, but now we have 6 million for that mid-level exception, which is like going to be beneficial. So I think that's the best move. Unless, to Ernest's point, you look around, there's like a Patty Mills because like I still think we do need a backup point guard versus Jay Rich or Duncan, I guess, being our playmakers or ball handlers, but we don't need it necessarily. But a Patty Mills could be cheap. We mentioned Thad Young. We've talked about DeAndre Hunter, PJ Tucker, but none of these move the needle to me, man. I just think the biggest thing is we upgraded Rozier. Offense has been horrendous. Defense has been trending back, and we're getting better in our defensive rating, even though it doesn't seem like it in those last 3 games. But offense is what we fucking need, and I'm pumped, man. Let me ask you guys this real quick. Martel, I'm going to ask both of you, and I don't know if you're still here, Trent, but what is our optimal starting lineup? I want to project what our starting lineup's going to look like. Who do you think we should put in as our 4, essentially?
Well, it's like we said before. Well, okay, so for the 4, it has to be Haywood Highsmith only because we got to start the game off good defensively. Like, whenever we start getting blown out, down 15 in the first quarter, second quarter, we're probably not going to win the game because now we got to play catch up. And then the team, when there's 2 minutes left into the fourth quarter, they hit big shots and then they close the game out. So for right now, like if it's not Kevin Love, but which, Kevin Love, that all comes down to matchups. But for now, it's definitely going to be Haywood Highsmith, Bam Adebayo. And I understand where everyone's saying that they want Duncan Robinson to start, but that's not going to happen on this team for some strange reason. I don't know. They don't want to be honest with Tyler Hero. If Ginobili can come off the bench, which I think Ginobili is way better than Tyler Hero, then I don't understand why he can't. I understand he has his agendas. He wants to be all-star and all this stuff. But for the unity of this team, for the team chemistry, for the way that this team plays complete, like 1 through 5, to be honest, Tyler really should be coming off the bench. But I understand why he's not. I mean, he's in his 5th year now. 6th year now. I understand why, but it is what it is. We'll see how good Tyler and Terry look together, but technically he should be coming off the bench. And because Duncan doesn't need the ball, he'll be able to cut, slash, run around. He'll be able to do so much. And then, like I said, now they can't double team Bam and Jimmy in the post because now you have Duncan and Terry Rozier running around. So we'll see, but we all know that Tyler's going to start anyway. So,
what do you think, Ernest?
I actually agree with Martin. Yeah, no. I mean, the optimal starting lineup would be Bam. I would throw Caleb Martin actually as a starting 4. I just like how I that's the thing, bro. Caleb Martin and Haywood Highsmith. Like I agree with Martel. It's really matchups, and that's the great thing about us. There's really not the perfect starting power forward. Like I agree with Martel. Highsmith is perfect. but maybe some games Jovic may be better. Maybe some games Martin will be better. We can play matchup with the starting power forward. That's the beautiful thing. Kevin loves the backup five, so I would leave it as is. But I would really love if the lineup was Butler, Duncan, and Rozier. That to me is the optimal starting lineup. I think, Martel, to your point, the reason why Tyler doesn't want to come off the bench is because I don't think the NBA gives these type of awards to bench players. So, for
Yep.
example, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, he's going to be averaging 35 to 38 minutes a game. But the NBA that does the votings and the journalists that do the votings, they're not going to look at a six man and put him in the all NBA team or in the
Nope.
all-star team. That's why he wants to start. It's that bullshit that I'm talking about. People forget in 1995, Dan Marley started in the All-Star game and he was a six man. Like, there's nothing wrong. It's not about who starts, it's about who ends the games. But that's why I feel Tyler Hero feels like he has to come off the starting lineup simply because of that. But yeah, that's going to be the lineup. Rozier, Hero, Jimmy, Caleb Martin, and Bam moving forward. That's what I think.
What do you think, Trent? Do you agree with or
So,
Mr. Marcel? Who should start?
you know, a lot of people are going to continue to say, I hate on Tyler and stuff like that. But y'all see, Ernest, Martell, Almir pretty much just all agree with me that he needs to go to the bench. And if you're a real Heat fan, you would know we do not play that well when the big three's together. Amir brought out a stat. We are 31 and 32 together as a big three when we're all healthy. Now, I'm not the smartest, but that's not a positive record. So, like everybody says, Duncan does not need the ball in his hand. And with adding a Terry Rozier, I don't know if you guys know, he attempts 8 threes a game. So you have Terry Rozier with 8 threes a game. Jimmy, luckily, Jimmy doesn't take so much shots in the playoffs. It is going to be interesting. But in the regular season, Jimmy doesn't take so much shots. We are going to see a lot of 3-point shots up with him and Tyler in that starting lineup. So many 3-point attempts because they love shooting the three, stuff like that. So obviously, it's interesting to see that if Spo can bench these other players, he needs to have a talk with Tyler and let him know. But like you said, Ernest, you made a good point. He plays for himself and not the Heat. And I think that all comes with maturity and his age. Because I really can't compare him to example like Russell Westbrook because he's near end of his career. He's done all the things he has done as a starter. So he took that back row. Tyler's, kind of up and coming. So I understand it. You getting all first team, which he's not, but that's more money in your pockets. So I understand all the awards, but when you look at Jimmy, he doesn't care about none of that. And that's just because of his age and maturity. So if Tyler continues to act like this and he's our future, then I have some concerns. But at the moment, I understand it. Trust me. We was all young. We all want the awards. We all want the shiny stuff. So I get it. But I think it's going to be Tyler, Terry Rozier, Jimmy, of course, Bam. In the 4 position, I think we all agree. It's all matchup based. And I think that's what makes the Miami Heat one of the best teams in the league. Because if we want to space out the floor, fuck it. Let's bring in a K-Love. He going to splash that shit, right? If we want to go all defensive, let's bring in a Haywood Highsmith. We can do that too. Or a Caleb Martin or whatever the case may be. So I think that's what makes this team so deep. Who do I think they go with? I think, personally, in my opinion, I think Caleb makes more sense. It brings more offense. We've been struggling the last 3 games, only scoring like 90-plus points, shooting 40% as a team and 30% as a three-point line. That's awful. Adding Terry and putting Caleb in there, that's going to change a lot of things. And also, it's going to take away less doubling Bam and less doubling Jimmy and stuff like that because we got players that can score all around the court now.
Yeah. I got a quick one for you guys. The 3 of y'all, let me know what you think about this. This just came to my head. What if the Miami Heat went with a positionless starting lineup that led with Terry Rozier being the 6th man? Let me break it down. What if they went with Bam Adebayo, Caleb Martin, Jimmy Butler, Jaime Jaquez, and Tyler Hero in the starting lineup? You got 5 guys that are 6'5" and above, can guard and play multiple positions. Then you got Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, and Kevin Love as your top 3 coming off the bench. So each of the guys are playing like 25 minutes, 30. You got Caleb playing just 20. You know how Spo likes to go 8 guys. So I'm talking about a playoff lineup. And then maybe on the 9th guy, sprinkle Richardson, Highsmith, Jovic, whoever, whatever matchup is available. What do you guys think about that?
What's the starting lineup again? Say it again.
Positionless lineup. People that can play multiple positions and play. Bam, Caleb at the 4, Jimmy at the 3, Jaime Jaquez at the 2, and Tyler at the 1. You got Rozier, Duncan Robinson, and Kevin Love as your main bench players, because you know how Spo likes to go 8 guys. And then for the 9th, either Highsmith, Richardson, or Jovic, like whatever matchup's driven.
So, okay, so just a few things. I don't like Caleb at the 4 because he doesn't like being at the 4. He said it a lot that, he's not used to it. He doesn't like it. So I'm not going to put him in a position to where he doesn't want to be. It's kind of like with Jovic. Jovic says he was I'm not going to put him there. You see what I'm saying? Because
I got you.
Struggling with it, With Tyler, to be honest, even though he's a shooting guard, I think that he struggles with his handle a little bit. Yep. I'm not comfortable with Tyler here being a point guard because to be honest, he doesn't really want to pass the ball like that. He'll rebound, he'll try to defend, he'll score, he'll do the floaters, he'll do the threes, but he doesn't really like passing the ball like that. So I'm not really going to put the ball in his head. And I've seen it watch. There's been a lot of clutch games where he does lose the ball, he gets stripped half court, all types of stuff. And I think Terry Rozier, to be honest with you, he didn't come here to come off the bench. Like, he wants to hoop. He's finally getting out of that mindset where he was in Charlotte and where he knew he wasn't going to win anything. Now he has more of a winning mentality. And I think he's going to be playing elite defense. He's going to be, coached by one of the best coaches in the league. And he has that alpha mentality to hit big shots. So I know for a fact he's probably going to want to start.
Nice.
I agree with all the Tyler Hero stuff at point guard. I don't mind Caleb being in there as our 4, but I mentioned this yesterday, Ernest, when you weren't here. I was saying that I think, because I like the idea of Terry coming off and off the bench playing with Duncan, Jaquez or Haywood or whoever's on the bench with him and K-Love, because he could just outright be the bucket getter. But I was thinking we could stagger him. Like, he starts, but then we stagger him and Tyler, right, so that they're not on the floor the whole time. Or, like, we want to stagger it a little bit where even Terry and Jimmy are not on the floor, because Jimmy plays the whole first quarter. He takes a rest. Like, then let Rozier come back in early and cook. So I kind of like where your head's at, where Terry is playing more with the second unit so he can get more shots, because he shot 18 shots per game. He's probably going to be like in the 10, 12 range, right? I mean, assuming Tyler's shots will go down a little bit. Jimmy's might stay where it's at. I think Bam's will probably, his are dipped a little bit as well. But I was going to give my optimal lineup too, because I think before we move on, I like the idea of Haywood starting. So Terry, Tyler, Haywood, Jimmy, and Bam, because I think our big 3 on our bench coming off the bench then would be the 8-man rotation. Then would be Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, and Jaime. I could also switch Jaime and Haywood, but I like the idea of Jaquez coming back off the bench. One, he's injured right now, so of course it's going to be Haywood or Caleb starting in the meantime. But he's a rookie. He's been balling out against starters, obviously, but like him playing against second units, that's even better for him, more of an advantage. So he could thrive on the bench or starting. And I like the idea of Caleb Martin on the bench too, because he'll have the ball more in his hands. Like, he likes to attack the basket. He likes to create. Essentially, he's not the best shot creator, but he's someone who can get downhill. He'll be our most athletic guy with Jaime off the bench, because with Jimmy on the court, Bam on the court, Tyler on the court, Terry on the court, like, Caleb's not going to be doing much. So I think if he's on the bench with Duncan, who's going to be like our playmaker essentially, and then Caleb is going to be spreading the floor. You got Jaime, who's going to be the Swiss Army knife, cutting weak side, fucking doing everything, moving off the ball, and then Caleb can kind of be that like Jimmy, like, that. Well, I guess Jaquez is the Jimmy, but you know what I mean. He's going to be like he could be more of an alpha. So that's what I think. But either way, it's a good problem to have, man. Just plug in this Rozier. We're so deep again. We're almost healthy. We just need to stay that way, I think. Let me ask you guys this last question.
Also,
go for it.
Can I say something? So with this Terry Rozier trade now too, we're so used to injuries. So like, we got to expect it at this point. So say if a Tyler goes out, we technically still got Terry, Jimmy, and Bam. That is still very, very good, right? Or just any opposite of anybody getting hurt, because I think we just have to expect it now. Any of our star players go out, we have Terry to hold the load a little bit for the regular season, and he's a proven scorer in his league. I mean, he drops the last time I believe he played, he's dropped 30+ points. The dude can hoop. So I think that's another positive thing about this whole thing. Can I put my opinion on the bench thing about Terry too?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think Terry would come off the bench because he's a veteran in this league and he understands he just wants to win at this point. I don't think he came to Miami to come off the bench, but I think he would if Spo talked to him about it. I think it'll make more sense, even though he needs to talk to Tyler about it. But that's just never going to go anywhere. So I think Terry realizes, and he came off the bench before. He came off the bench for Boston. I think he even came off the bench for Charlotte for a little. So he's used to it. And Terry and Duncan just make more sense to me personally. So yeah.
Speaking of Terry, he's averaging 29 in 3 games against the Heat, averaged 29 points per game. So that guy is a bucket getter. I think Trent secretly wants Tyler Hero to get hurt, so we could test out this new big 3 with Rozier getting all his shots, all his minutes. I'm just kidding.
Don't say that. Don't speak that.
I'm just kidding.
Fortune. No way.
That's bad. That's bad juju. I don't want to say that.
For real.
All right. When do you think he's going to play, though?
Comments are just going to make it seem like I want him hurt now.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, nobody here wants any injuries for the Heat. We got to figure this out.
I love Tyler.
No. Yes.
I don't even want injuries against my worst enemies. When I was younger, of course I did. But now it's like I don't want to wish that on them because they're going to say you beat this team without AD, without KD, without whatever, right? I don't want no excuses built in either. I don't want us to have excuses. So, but yeah, last thing I was saying, when do you think he's going to play? When you need him? Is he going to be available for Memphis? Do you think he's going to come back against Boston?
No.
New York?
No.
What do you think?
Let me see. Wait. So I don't think he's going to play tomorrow. Definitely not. He's got to get acclimated with the system. I could see a first game. I mean, why not Thursday against Boston? I don't see why not. He's probably going to get with the team. He probably got with the team today, or maybe tomorrow. They'll have a practice, but most likely it'll probably be Saturday. Just so he can get some practice time in, get with the system. But I don't see why not on Thursday. Most likely Saturday.
Against the team drafted him. Yep.
I haven't played. Trades, it happens quick. I mean, they tend to miss only one game and then they go out there and go. But I want to talk about the schedule, and this is why it's so important if him playing. We have a 9-game stretch before the trade deadline approaches, and we talked about this in the last episode, and I even talked about it with the other dude, the Heat Report. He said he will be lucky to go 5-4 in that stretch. Now with Terry Rozier, does that change things? And I think it may not, because we need to find a way how this is all going to work. But later in that season, before playoffs starts, we're going to know this team's ready for the playoffs. Right now, we can't expect to go out there and be perfect. That's not the case at all. So this 9-game stretch is going to be huge. We got some tough games ahead of us. Even the Spurs and Wizards, we can't say those are easy games because the Heat make the easy games hard for them at the end of the day, no matter what.
Hopefully not anymore, brother.
That's the truth.
Hopefully with Terry, man, he might be the last missing puzzle piece, So I feel a lot more confident playing against the Suns, the Clippers, the Celtics, the Knicks, all these teams that we're going to be playing in the next, 2 weeks. So
no, we're there. I mean, that trade just put us right there. I mean, especially with the moves that Boston and Milwaukee made in the offseason, which, by the way, they fired their coach. Haha. But nah, man, I think with the moves that they made, this trade, it puts us right there. We've said it before. The hole that we had was at the point guard. We fixed it. We didn't give up Jovic. We basically switched Kyle Lowry for Terry Rozier. Let's fucking go. We got this.
And imagine, like if we play in the finals again, hypothetically against the Nuggets, and we have the players available, we have a Rozier, we have a Hawkes, we have a Tyler Hero that we didn't have last year, that could be enough.
Just throw Jovic on Jokic. Just get in his head. I don't know. They're both buddies, Just throw him on him. Joker will kill him, but still, just spit some Sylvania on him and mess with his head. I don't know.
Joker would get fucking 101 and beat Wilt's record, right? He's like, oh, I beat you at 70. I got Jokic who weighs 100 pounds on me.
I'll be like, Jovic, you're out there for 5 minutes. Use all 6 fouls on him. Go.
All right, guys. That was a great episode. I think we're at time now, but that was awesome. What a good day. Super pumped. Can't wait to see this new iteration. Hopefully it works, man. Spo's got a new toy. Let's go. Mad scientist. He'll tinker and figure out the best rotation. So
There you go.
I'll see you guys later, and hopefully we'll be back with another episode next week. Thanks, guys.
And that's enough said.